once you've sort of brainstormed that out, you've figured out what your niche is, and you've figured out where the hook is going to be, got your pricing strategy right. You're starting to package it all up, getting ready to bring it to market, and whether you have a look at your copywriting course or get yourself instant sales letters. Once you're at that point, then I suppose the next piece of the puzzle is making sure that you drive traffic. Now, there's 50 million different ways to drive traffic, and just curious to get your ideas on when you're launching a product, what are the ways that you like to try and drive traffic to a site?
Yeah, there's definitely, would you say 50 million ways? That sounds about right. So for the longest time, I think for most people, that's part of what kind of slows them down is that they see all these different ways of driving traffic or all these different ways of doing online marketing, and it just sort of stops them like a deer in headlights.
Mm.
And, for me, I've totally always been, and I still am, non-technical. Like I literally can't build my website, David, if my life depended on it. And so, and I'd be looking at different traffic strategies, and some of them will resonate with you, and some of them won't. Like for me, one of my key questions I always love asking is, who else can I piggyback on that's already doing things in the marketplace, or I can kind of just jump into their stream of business. And so very early on, so that's exactly what I did for instant sales letters. So back, 10 years now, maybe 10 and a half years now, I went to, at that time, Alta Vista was the big search engine. And so I went to Alta Vista and Yahoo and typed in my keyword, which is sales letters. And so I just picked out, okay, who's already on top here? I'm like, well, I don't want to do the work to figure out how the hell they did that. Why don't I just contact them and see if they'd be interested in getting a profit share for my product. And so, I contacted the people that were on the first page or checked out their site to see if, some of them were like colleges and, it'd be hard to do a deal with them and different people that weren't really, that didn't fit. But so the ones that fit, I contacted them via email personally and just kind of just let them know about our product, let them know that I'd be happy to give them a review password and check it out and see what they thought. And we had like one or two people respond, and then after that, they would promote it, and then I'd use those results and go back to the rest of the people on my list, my little hit list of like 15 or 20 kind of prospects or ultimate prospects that I had. Tell them about these other people, and after a few months, we had I think about 30 or 40% of the people on there. So we had just a good amount of impact just on that around that keyword.
Mm.
One of the other things that I really did a lot of was articles. I always think about traffic in three general ways, right? So you can buy it, you can borrow it. So I was borrowing it by going to those people that had existing rankings already, or you can create it. And so articles are creating traffic, things like viral marketing and so forth. These days I'm happier. You always typically either have more time or more money, right? So I'm typically happier to spend some money to see instead of waiting either for rankings to come up. And you're a pretty darn good SEO guy, so I don't know jack about that, but for me it just seems like it's not it would take a while to get the rankings, and I would imagine you got something that can do it a lot faster than I think. I would rather pay for traffic right now because I know it's something that then I can track and measure right away and see what's up, and I can see, okay, what's my conversion rate, how's this doing, can I test some pricing, can I test some different things, and then get it right before I want to market it on a bigger scale.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people sort of get caught up, like you said. It's almost like they get caught in that deer headlights, even though like you broke it down into the three, and that's as simple as it needs to be. People have this habit of overcomplicating things, and you identified that as a big mistake, I suppose. A lot of people are making on a regular basis. No doubt you probably see a few of these recurring themes. Are there any other mistakes that you see people make?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. One of them is thinking that it takes like a week to become an internet millionaire.
Yeah, that might be Frank Kern's fault. Makes it look so easy, I think.
Yeah. There's it's hard to you have to work at this. I mean, it's not it has so many great advantages and benefits. I mean, like for me, it's something that you don't have to give up your day job, whatever it is. You can, you spend some time building up your assets and your price, and it creates an asset for you that you can profit from for a long time, but it's not going to be an overnight thing. You gotta build up the relationships with partners. You gotta build up traffic sources and test different things. And what I tell people all the time is if you can just do at least one proactive thing a day and just commit to that, you'll get there pretty fast. And then just don't get stuck in things that you think are proactive or that you think is work, but really it's not. So it's pretty important, especially when you're starting out and you have limited time. And I've been kind of refining this over the years because I have a little 5-year-old boy who just walked in. I don't know if you heard that, David. And then I have a little 3-year-old girl. And so when they were born, my time available kept getting just whittled down. So every year I'm trying to figure out, okay, what are the big 20% activities that make me the 80% of our income, or the 20% products that make us the 80% of our income, and so forth, and really honing in on that. And so you have to be kind of ruthless about what you spend your time on and not get caught in, the internet is such a, I don't know, like a Pandora's box or something. It's
Mm.
just, if you have a connection on, all of a sudden you might be working on something that is proactive, like you're writing an autoresponder message or you're writing your sales letter. And then you're like, oh, this looks like a really interesting, angle for this. I wonder, what is the research on how many, whatever, tons of carbon are actually
Mhm.
exhaled by whatever, and then all of a sudden, you're off like in 18 different websites and Wikipedia and all this crazy stuff, and it's, you just get off track so quickly. So you gotta bring yourself back in and just really hone in on what you're doing and making sure that you're building up your assets and stuff that's gonna keep paying you for a long time. Like instant sales letters, it's 10 and a half years now, right? And it's last year just dipped below six figures. I think it was like $95,000 we did. So it's still been going pretty darn well for a little $40 downloadable product.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I haven't touched it in like 6 years.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with this whole idea of the critical focus time. And I know you live it because when I was chatting and lining up this interview with you and chatting with Chastity, she was talking about this idea that you're trying to build in, or you are building in, she's helping build in this one day where you have the focus time. And she's telling the other team members, if Yannick is calling you on this day, do not answer the phone. He's supposed to be
Yeah.
working.
Yeah. So sometimes it helps if you get if you get someone around you that can help police some of that stuff too. There's a good program that I've been going through called Strategic Coach, which put out by a guy named Dan Sullivan. But in there, he's got 3 different days that you should be thinking about in your week. One's a focus day where you're just getting, hammering stuff in and getting stuff done that makes you money, furthers your business. And then there's buffer days, which are just days that you're doing things that, all the rest of the crap that you kind of need to do, or whatever the case is. Like it's all other additional things. So for me, like
Mm.
team calls or different phone calls or interviews and all sorts of other stuff, from, I don't know, like scanning in my credit card today. That was a buffer day activity because my assistant needed it because we got a new credit card. And then you have free days, which you don't do anything and don't think about work, and
Yeah.
just rejuvenate, reinvigorate what you're doing.